Welcome to Endless Summit Podcast.
See?
Yeah.
Dude, you're a rock star. You got this.
I've been trying to practice it more often in my head, you know? And the more times I say it, the better it gets.
Exactly, man. And they
And
love your voice in your face, man.
yeah, right. Until somebody asks you what the podcast name is, you'll start fumbling over your words.
And then I'd be like, the Summit Podcast.
Exactly. So it's the podcast of Endless Summits.
Exactly.
Here we are, another week.
Yep, we made it.
Holidays.
How was your New Year?
It was good. It was it felt weird. I think having that break in the middle of the week made it feel like an extra Saturday, and then I had to work, Friday. I don't know if you worked on Friday or not, but
I did.
Yeah, it just felt weird on Friday. It's like, okay, let's just get this day over with. Get into the weekend again.
I just worked a partial day. I was like, everybody was taking PTO, and I don't have a lot because, it's my first year there. And I was like, nah, I think I'll work like 3 or 4 hours. And then I took the rest of the day's PTO.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather work that day than take PTO because it doesn't make any sense not to. It's just an easy day. Like, yeah, it's inconvenient because you have to work, but it's not hard. So.
And it wasn't, but I was just like, my kids were home and everything. And so it was like, dude, do I really want to work a full day? And so I was like, nah, I'll just put in PTO, take the second half of the day off, and then just chill, spend it with my family and whatnot. So
nice.
Yeah. Did you guys do anything for New Year's?
We went to Flankers, which is okay. It wasn't that great. Like there was a lot of people there, surprisingly, but I don't know. The music just wasn't hitting throughout the night. It was kind of tough. But yeah, we were out pretty late until like 2 or so, and came back home and spent the whole day on the couch on the first. It was great. Watched 3 or 4 3 movies and a couple shows. We watched Stranger Things, so we finished the last episode. It was kind of a mixed feeling ending. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was bittersweet, and definitely emotional.
Oh, yeah.
And it made sense the way it ended. Like, I don't think it was a bad ending at all. It was just really drawn out, which was good. I mean, I think it offered a lot of closure for people who were like really invested into the show. So it was good to watch that though. I don't think I'm gonna rewatch that show anytime soon though.
I will.
Yeah, are you?
Man, I actually love the way it ended, man. Like, I'm huge on how movies or TV shows like send off characters, right? Because a lot of the times they'll just end it and you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
And I hate that, dude. I really do. So I saw a bunch of stuff about people talking about how it needed to be like the fight scene needed to be longer and all this kind of stuff, which I agree with. But I think I appreciated the way they sent everybody off more than I needed the fight. Like with Will having powers, with Elle having powers, I just knew they would win. Like I thought somebody might die, but I knew they would win. And so it was like, I don't really care about the fight. But then like knowing that everybody survived, it was like, all right, how are you going to send everybody off? Like, and I love that they left it up to interpretation. Like Elle's death is not confirmed nor denied. Like it's up to your interpretation and what you believe. So I think she's alive.
I mean, sure seems like it. It made sense.
It does. The one part that doesn't make sense is like, how does 8 hold it from so far away? But especially because like that's the first part of the building.
If you want to get, that's true. That is the first part of the building exploding for the whole thing to happen anyway. But if you want to get into technicalities, one thing that pissed me off is when they were fighting the freaking monster and they lure it into the cliffs and they're like, we got to scale these cliffs in order to beat it.
And they did it in 15 seconds.
Yeah. I was like, what? No, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like I was talking shit the entire episode and Allison's like, you need to shut up. Like, are we done watching this? Because I kept calling out things that didn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, there's a plot hole here. There's a plot hole here.
Yeah, it definitely didn't make sense how they got up there so fast. But I
think like whatever. All right, it's part of the show.
I really did think that they did such a good job, dude. Like Mike being a writer, I love that. And then Dustin, the way he graduated and the fact that like he did it exactly to Eddie Munson's way.
That was hilarious.
Perfect.
So funny.
And Steve was live, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, because they almost had you there in the first.
I was almost done. I wasn't even going to finish. I was like, bullshit, this is how he dies?
I'm like, of course, it's like, well, I don't know, was it 15 minutes into the episode when that scene happens? And it's like the only scene they black out. Like the whole episode. It's pretty continuous, but that's the only one where they take a pause and black the screen out to make you like, I guess, get jumpy, because the whole episode
Everybody
is
loves
tense.
Steve, dude.
Yeah, the whole the way they started the show off was just super tense.
I watched this TikTok or Instagram reel, dude, and it was this guy who was being recorded and he's watching it. And when it goes black, he shuts off his TV and he's like, "This is some bullshit. They killed Steve like this." Like, didn't even finish it, didn't even make it. Like, it was only like, what, a 5-second blackout? He just turned it off. He was like, "Nah, fuck this. This is stupid." And it just had me dying, dude, because I was like, I was almost there. I was this close.
I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, it's way too soon. Way too soon to kill anybody off right now.
And when you think about it, like, after everything that Steve went through, like, it doesn't make sense to kill him that way.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking with my logical mind at that moment. It was
all emotions. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, regardless, it was a great show. Like, I can't believe it spanned 10 years from when it started to where it ended. And so when they did all the flashbacks of what everybody looked like as babies, like, it was just, it's crazy how much you watch characters grow in a TV show.
This one, we were like really on top of it, like watching them grow. And then Nikki's been begging to watch it. So I'm not one of those people that like is particular on, oh, it's PG-13, it's TV 14, she can't watch it till she's 14. Depends on the kid and how mature they are. And so like she watched Predator Badlands with me, which wasn't really scary in any kind of way, but she's watched that with me, you know, and like she watches like 911 and The Rookie and stuff. So it's not like terrible, but people get shot. You see like messed up stuff in 911. And so one of the biggest things, she wanted to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, so I let her watch that, and she did okay. So I was like, "Are you ready yesterday to watch Stranger Things?" And she was like, "Yeah." We turn on the first episode, dude. She's moving around. She keeps looking at me, and I'm like, "Are you scared?" And she's like, "No." She's moving around. I'm like, "Are you?" I asked her this like 15 times. No, no, no. And so finally I pause it, and I'm like, "Nikki, I can tell how anxious you are. You're scared, and it's okay. You don't have to watch it right now." And she was like, "All right, there's been a couple of parts." And I'm like, and it's the first episode. And so I'm like, "All right, then we'll wait. Like, let's wait a little while until you feel a little bit more brave or whatever, or you feel like you can handle it." But I'm glad that like once I paused it and we talked about it, she had the maturity to be like, "Yeah, Dad, it's scary."
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can get pretty bloody. Like it's graphic, and sort of like the violence and those demogorgons are like, they freak you out at first when you don't expect them. Like, those things are creepy, especially with the heads.
So yeah, we'll see.
Sense. The very first rated R movie I watched, I was like 8 or 9. It was Wind Talkers. Have you heard of the movie Wind Talkers?
I don't know it.
It's a World War II movie. It has Nicolas Cage in it. And it's actually really good. It's like, the movie's about when the U.S. recruited Native Americans to be their comms guys, and it's because the Japanese wouldn't be able to decipher what the natives were saying, because they would speak in like they would call things out in certain ways or certain phrases. Like, they would say animal names in the native tongue to confuse the Japanese. And so that movie's about them, about like Native Americans and how they helped fight the war. And there was a lot of graphic scenes where like U.S. soldiers are getting just blown up and like just torn apart, and I would freak out and I ran to my room like so many times. My parents like, "It's okay, it's fine, you're okay, it's okay to be scared, like you don't have to worry, it's just a movie." I'm like, "I know, but like to see like good guys get killed like they are, like it was like traumatizing in a way." That's what like really tore me up, was just watching these guys get blown up and blown apart. But since then, I was like, I can watch any gory like war movie, but I can't stand horror movies.
Really?
Like, I can't do the gruesome like torture, like Saws. Can't watch Saw. There was one, I can't remember the name of it. Like, the one horror movie that I hated watching was this one where this guy had to escape a house that was set up as like a torture chamber.
13 Ghosts?
No, I don't know if it was 13 Ghosts, but it's this guy who just loved torturing people. And so to escape this house, he had to like work through the house like a maze. And if you took a wrong turn, then something would just basically come out and kill you. or at least impale you or hurt you severely. So I hated that though, because it's so creepy and it makes me think like, okay, this is too real. Like this could actually happen to me.
I remember, dude, it was elementary school. And you know, back in the day, things were so much different. They didn't give a shit about what you watched or what you did.
Yeah.
I remember, man, it was elementary school age. I watched Aliens and Species, and it fucked me up, man. I was scared of the dark. I couldn't tell you at what age I became not scared of the dark. Because it was like, dude, I don't know. It traumatized the heck out. Like, I can watch it now and I'm fine. But, dude, for so much of my life, it was like, what? Like, I don't want to go into a dark.
Can you watch, I'm trying to think of like demonic, I guess, like satanic movies, because there's a lot of like horror, like demonic, satanic ones, like spiritual ones. I can watch those and be fine. Like those ones don't freak me out as much as like the Saws do or other like torture movies.
I struggle with that.
Do you?
Like I believe that like, all right, so one that me and my wife started was The Nun. Like, nah. And this is me like within the last year or two, dude. Like we started it and I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this. Like, I don't know. To me, that is more real and scary than like a Saw is. Because it's like you can't control like if these things control you, right? Or whatever. And I think part of it is because I'm not religious, so I believe that it could be real. And like I think there's part of it that's like, oh, Brett, you're not religious. So like if this happens to you, you're basically and so I really don't like those. Like I can sit down and watch them. Some of them are okay.
Yeah.
But there's some of them where it's like, nah, I'm all right. Like I don't need to watch this. Like, what's the point? I'm good.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I don't want one of these things attaching to me. Like
exactly. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I got Marquis to watch F1.
Oh nice. Heck yeah. I should think of it.
She thought it was great. She kept on commenting about how good looking Brad Pitt was. I look exactly like him.
Yeah. Just a younger Brad Pitt.
Exactly. I'm taller, stronger, bigger,
faster.
I'm probably not faster. I got my freaking broken ass knee, dude.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad you got to watch it then.
Yeah, so
right on.
It was good. But I guess there it is. You ready to jump into it?
Heck yeah.
All right. Because today we're going to be talking about training versus escaping and what's the difference. And I wrote this down just so I know like the dictionary type of definition.
Yeah.
But like training is intentional discomfort that leads to growth. And then escape is oh my goodness. See? This is why you can't have me lead off on the podcast, bro. So training is intentional discomfort that leads to growth. Escape is discomfort avoidance that looks productive. So like an easy example before we really jump into it, I guess, is like, you know, if you're going to the gym to avoid a feeling, avoid feeling sad and whatnot, it's not really a productive like growth setup. Whereas like if you're going to the gym with the intention of like, hey, I need to burn X amount of calories, right? Like that's leading to discomfort and growth that's going to help you the next day, right? And so I think the avoidance part is really big. Like we're doing said thing to avoid what's going on, right? And I've been a victim of this, you know, well, maybe victim is not the right word, but I've been somebody that's experienced this where, you know, like I do things because I'm feeling a certain way and I don't want to feel a certain way. The gym's perfect, dude. Like when I have a hard, there's times it's intermixed, and I'm not saying it's productive, and it's probably not. Like if I look at my day, it's probably not, but there's days for me where I do go to the gym because I'm just like overwhelmed. And it's like, dude, I want to go somewhere where I don't think about it. And when I'm in the gym and I have to think about lifting a weight or this or that, like I'm not 100% focused on that piece. But I know as well that I'm not pushing myself as hard as I would if I was like locked in and ready to go to the gym because I'm trying to grow or get stronger or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think with that, like just basic definition, what are your thoughts, man?
So I'm glad that it said intent for training. That word is the one I thought of immediately when I was thinking about this earlier, that when you're training, it's all about the intent. So like when you're a coach training an athlete, you're coaching them to be intentional on everything that they do within that training aspect of that time. And you have to hone in the focus of the athlete or the individual and really make them think about what they're doing throughout that session. And they're not thinking about anything else. So then with that escapism and avoidance, training, if you're training towards a goal, then the escapism is not going to help you. I think, trying to think of like the right way to describe this, because like one's healthy, one's not, right? So like the escapism isn't the healthy one, the intentional training is. However, like we all need outlets, and this is where like a lot of trainers, coaches, or like just like, let's say successful people, let's umbrella it and just say successful people in any industry, they have multiple outlets. So if they really care about the gym, they're not going to use the gym as an outlet. They're going to use the gym as, I'm using this as a tool to sharpen my mind and my body. Their outlet might be going for a walk or listening to a podcast, or just they have a playlist they put on and they just zone out with that playlist on. That would be an outlet or an escape sort of thing to get away from whatever the stressors are. I think, because I'm not trying to condemn anything, right? So like, I'm not, when people are like training to train for something, that's great. They understand that the intent behind that has to be 100% focus in order for you to grow. Like you're saying, like you're growing uncomfortably because you're focused on whatever you're training on. And that just makes me think back of how I was training. Because now when I go to the gym, like, yeah, I'm the same way as you. I'm going as, it's sort of an outlet for me, but I'm also trying to train my body to stay in shape. And I'm thinking of all the potential benefits of keeping my body in shape down the road, right? So like, hopefully when we're 60, 70, 80, we're still limber and functional, and we're not, stuck in a wheelchair because we weren't either active enough, or maybe we were too active and injure ourselves at some point. That's where I'm trying to like find that happy medium. But I'm also going to the gym to get out of my head, to like sort of escape from whatever stressors are going on around me. And like, I agree with you. Like, I'm not always 100% focused on what I'm training on, and I'm not pushing myself as hard as I could because I'm still thinking about whatever's going on around me in the back of my mind. But I'm still happy I'm in the gym, though. At least I'm getting some sort of movement in. So I give myself grace, as we talked, is like, okay, I'm in the gym. And before I go to the gym, I either try to get myself in that mentality of, all right, I'm going to go and stay focused the entire half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever. And then there's other days where I've got so much in my mind that I'm like, I'm just glad I'm here. I'm just glad I'm getting into the gym just to do something and take me out of wherever I was previously at and put me back into somebody. Oh shoot, I was talking to one of my buddies earlier, and what people call the gym like their church, trying to think of another name for it right now, but I can't think of the name. But he brought it up. He's like, yeah, it's the gym's my church, basically. So yeah, it's like, I want to kind of point that out first, that it's like, if you go to the gym and you train intentionally, great. If you go to the gym to escape, like, that's okay too, but you can't use that as like your constant like crutch, basically. Like, if you're constantly escaping something, and this is how I was, like, I used to constantly escape a lot of difficult like conversations, or try to escape like difficult thoughts, and it doesn't benefit you in any way by constantly escaping those situations. Like, it's going to come to you eventually. Basically, you can only escape it for so long before it just smacks you right in the fucking head. So the best thing to do is, before you try to escape anything, is to confront it, essentially in a healthy way. Whatever is bothering you emotionally or mentally or physically, like, you got to just take it on head on and figure it out. Because from firsthand experience, it's not a good thing to keep pushing it away. And definitely learned the hard way with that. But the benefits of like just training intentionally with anything, mental or physical, it compounds. All right. You think of compounding interest. When you train intentionally, you don't notice the differences, right? When you're going through it, you don't notice until the time has come where the results finally pay off. So if you're working towards a competition like you were with your bench press, like, it's just like adding little increments of weight. Like, it's compounding till you get to that heavier weight. Same thing with any sort of mental, mental conditioning. When you're doing mental conditioning in a way where you're doing little bit of things where you're taking like 5 minutes out of your day to, or 5 minutes out of an hour to like take a break, that's going to compound where you're just like letting off steam, and then you go back into what you're going back into and focusing. or 15 minutes, whatever the case is, it compounds to you having like a more being more relaxed person because you're intentionally taking that break and you're intentionally, again, I love that intentionally was brought up. You're intentionally taking the time to relax, meditate, whatever it is, your outlet, so that way you can stay more focused throughout the day. So there's a lot of different things. Yeah, that's my monologue for the night.
No, I'm with you, man. Like I thinking about this and then just listening to you talk about it, I believe that training and escape are both good in proportions, right? So I think it has to be, in my personal opinion, which isn't professional by any means, but I think there has to be like an 80-20 split, right? Like 80% of the time it's training with intention, 20% of the time it's okay to escape. Because like I do feel like you need to be able to escape. I don't think that you can intentionally train physically, mentally 100% of the time. In my experience and what I've witnessed, I don't see it as being possible. And if it is, like, are you 100% that whole time?
Yeah, I'm going to just challenge that thinking really quick. When you have a goal in mind, so like, let's say the Olympics happen every 4 years, and these athletes train day in and day out, sometimes 2 times a day for those 4 years. Now, can they do this their whole lives? No, but with it being a 4-year duration and that being the goal of making it to the Olympics and, you know, potentially getting a gold, silver, or bronze, they can, like, they do have that focus. This is where like sports psychology was so interesting, is like those athletes, it's like going to work, right? They knew that they had to put the work in, but they kept that goal in front of them the entire time of getting gold. Obviously getting gold is priority, but like silver, bronze, they want to get at least medal. So when studying those professional athletes, they knew how to turn that switch. Like they flipped that switch, they went to work, they stayed focused the entire time. And that's where the outlets were so necessary, so that they could blow off steam when they weren't stressed about their training. So I like to think that, yeah, you can. I don't think you're not able to do it endlessly by any means. So like for our purposes, no, I don't think that, like I would agree with you right now in this case, where if you don't have any goals in front of you and you're just training to train, or say the gym is the only outlet you have, then absolutely it should be 80-20, intentional to escapism. But if you're really training for something, then that's where you really need to lock in. So if you know that you have a year to do a triathlon, then yeah, every day needs to be absolutely intentional. Like you can't just daydream or doze off during your training or like pretend like you're escaping, because you got to hit that goal. But if it's just you and me, like we're just going to the gym and just shooting shit, then yeah, absolutely. Like we're going to have those moments where we're dialed in, and then there's going to be other moments where, you know, we don't give a fuck. Like just throw some weights on, even if they're not going to be that heavy. I'm here. Like, I'm glad I'm here. So I think it depends. Like if you want to, I think it depends on the goal and like what you want to achieve. That's where I want to challenge the thinking, is like, okay, if there's no goal, then yeah, 80-20. But if there's a goal, then no, we got to figure out how to lock you in, because there's no time left.
And like, I love the fact that you're coming up this way, because I think this is the first time that people are going to see us not be on the same page. And I love it, because what you're explaining, like I totally understand and get like what you're saying. And like my counter argument to that would be, even for an Olympian that's training for 4 years to get a gold medal, they're not training that whole 4 years 100%. Everything's not intentional, because it can't be. Like and I'm no freaking Olympic athlete, right? I mean, I could be, but I'm not. But like the thing is with training, right? And like right now we're talking more physical, and you know, we can talk a little bit more mental after this. But when you're training intentionally, right? Like you're going to train, but you're not training 7 days a week. Like you have to have an escape, which would be like sort of a rest day within that time frame. At least one, maybe two, but you have to have that to allow your body to reset. That's why I'm saying, like, I believe like 90-10, no matter who you are, or sorry, 90-10 or 80-20, no matter who you are, because if you are being 100% intentional about your goals and what you want to do, right? Like we'll break it down to somebody that's simple, that's trying to train for a triathlon in a year, like you were speaking about, right? Like if you do that, you have to take days where you can let yourself just escape, because if you don't, you're gonna injure yourself. You're gonna become burnt out mentally because you're like, holy crap, like I
So
never stop.
yeah, I agree. Like there are deloading days that should happen throughout the week. Like we had one or two deloading days where the training was still intentional, but the intensity was dialed down a little bit. So you could take like a physical break from it, but mentally you still had to be like on point with your, say, your technique or the breathing. Like the same rules applied on the deloading days as they did on the cutting days or like the more intense days. But yes, it's necessary to have those easier moments throughout the week to help prevent burnout, to help prevent injuries. Because if you do push your body at a high level for that long, then you're right. You're going to get injured and your life is just going to get worse for you down the road.
Well, and like just personal experience with it, right? Like
Yeah.
I've been training, and then like the other thing is I really wanted this business, right? One of those things was getting those certifications
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. Dude, I was locked in. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was not going to be any time where I wasn't in. I burnt myself out.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% have, like, I'm like 25% of the way through my strength and conditioning. And I started that at the beginning of November, end of October. I burnt myself out on it. And so, like, I've taken a break from it, which is sort of not, doesn't fit into what we're talking about. But I think if I would have allowed myself those escapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I do now, every Sunday is an escape. There's nothing intentional about it. Nothing. It's my day to rest and not think about anything that's going on in the world, right? Like I can watch football and just like, okay, football. I can, focus on just playing with my kids that has nothing to do with any of my goals, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
letting myself just like sort of reset for a day, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like I need that myself to be able to go into Monday locked in. Like, all right, hey, we had our day where we got to chill, not do anything, not worry about I'm not worried about like what's going on with me mentally. Like, how should I be preparing for therapy? I'm not doing any of that. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just being in the moment, not really giving a shit about any goals or anything outside of that. And so I think, and this is where, like, I'm not an expert, but I think you need that no matter what you're doing. And I think if I would have had more of that, for one, when I was training to do the state record for bench and when I was doing my certifications, like if I would have allowed myself that, then I probably would have completed my certification. I probably would have been able to compete in my
Mm-hmm.
lifting competition where I know the rules. I know you have to rest. Like I shouldn't be benching every day, high weight every single day. And with no breaks, but that's what I was doing because I knew if I took that deload week, right, or whatever, I'm going to lose 10 to 15 pounds of strength. And so then I'm going to have to regain that back, which it's going to come back quicker. But I didn't care about that. It was the fact that I was losing it. And so I didn't let myself take a break. And then, like, I overworked my shoulder. Like, thankfully, I didn't severely hurt myself, but I overworked it. And now I'm
Yeah.
sidelined having to take a break, right? Whereas
Yeah.
if I would have just did what I coached my people to do, like it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where me and you sit on a little bit of a different side of a fence. I don't think we're completely on opposite sides, but I think we have some like middle where we're mending, but there are some certain pieces where it's like, nah, I stay on this side, which is really cool because ain't nobody heard us be really on different sides. Like for the most part, everything that we've talked about, we sort of agree with, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So I think it's really cool that right now we can have the conversation about like, nah, man, this is what I believe. And you're like, well, I sort of see this. And I think it's cool. I think it
Mm-hmm.
brings out some things and lets people see two different sides, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm glad we brought up this topic now because we're sitting here and we're like, well,
Yeah. It just depends on how you see it. Yeah.
yeah, 100%, man. I like it. Now, what what are your thoughts or like opinions on training versus escape for your mind? What, because I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm seeing it a little bit, I'm not seeing it a little bit. So I'm like, all right, let me kick this over to Shane, see what he thinks, see if he can spark anything in me.
Um, when it's the training versus escapism with your mind, like to me, it's a lot like your body. You got to give your mind those breaks as well. Like the focus, like that intentional focus. You can only stay focused for so long before it becomes a physical thing where you get a migraine or whatever the case is. Like the stress and the emotions kind of get built up from being focused for so long. Training the mind though, you can increase your focus. You can do a lot of things. Like your mind is so powerful, right? What you believe you can do. Absolutely. So like, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Reading podcasts, like educating yourself constantly, like all of this stuff that you learn is training your mind. Like that is a form of training. The intentional focus while you're at the gym is training your mind. The breath work is training your mind. Like there's a lot of things that we do throughout the day that we don't realize is training our mind. When we get to a certain point where we're feeling overloaded, like, stressed out, like for me, for instance, I get cloudy. Like I just get a cloudy brain, or in cloudy mind, whatever. I have to distract myself by just doing like nothing. This is where I love solitude, like being alone in wilderness, and there's just no sounds whatsoever other than the wind in the trees. That is my escape from the constant bombardment of learning and even like with just media in general, right? Like there's stuff that you're learning from other outlets. So seclusion for me is my way of escaping all of that mental training and like just mental overload. But I do so intentionally still when I'm escaping to, like, when we go camping or if I go for a drive too. It's me reflecting on what I've learned, what I've experienced. So I'm decompressing when I'm out in like a secluded area or writing, even like if I'm journaling. It's a way of decompressing, and it gets everything that I've absorbed out on paper or just at least cycle through my head so I can better understand it. Those are like the healthy ways. However, when you're dealing with these constant stressors or constant information overload, whatever it is, and you're not retaining anything and you're just going off and escaping from all of that, it's not exactly helping you in any way, shape, or form, because you're avoiding what could be potentially moving you forward, like what you could be using to advance. The difference is the acknowledgement of the information that you're receiving. If you're being like, say, I keep saying overloaded, but it could just be like the normal day-to-day like life experiences that you'd be experiencing. Maybe there's a trigger where people are like, I'm uncomfortable, right? They get put into an awkward position. Something unexpected happens. It throws them for a loop because they weren't prepared for it. And then they run away and they escape that situation, that problem. That's not training your mind to, or emotionally, it's not training you emotionally on how to react to it appropriately the next time it happens, if it does happen another time. So for me, it's like you got to stay adaptable, mentally resilient, emotionally like grounded for you to stay mentally in the game and continuously train your mind on how to react to certain situations and not just run away from those situations. And then you intentionally do take those breaks where you do whatever you want to do or whatever you need to do to deload your mind. Video games could be a thing too. Like I like playing video games because I'm not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about the game, and I'm maybe reflecting a little bit during the game too and processing information a different way. But to me, yeah, it's the same thing as the body. You got to deload the amount of information that you're taking in day to day, and then reflect heavily on what you're learning and what you're doing in order to process the information better and better. Like it's just help you learn down the road. Really, I'm sure there's probably a way better way than what I explained just barely. But to me, those are the differences. It's like if you're avoiding the stimulus that like just popped up out of nowhere at you, then that's not helping you or anybody else around you, right?
Right.
Yeah. So again, intention, like that's the only word I can think of, is everything is with intention. Even when you're intentionally escaping to just at least decompress, like that's a good intention. Like that's fine. That's a good thing. You're processing in a different way. But if you're just completely like avoiding it, like, nope, I don't want to deal with this. This is awful. Somebody else can handle it and nobody else can, which by the way is like this one, that Kevin coach, like a cool quote that I heard forever ago. He reminded me of it was, what resists persists. So when you resist the problem, that's going to continuously persist as being the problem in your life. It's something that you mentally can get through by dealing with the problem head on rather than avoiding it.
I'll just sort of talk about my experience with it based on what I was thinking and based on what you're saying. Like, I think the biggest way that I try to escape, dude, is from emotions. I tend to, I mean, you know this, I'm a very emotional human being. So
I am too. So I agree. Like I totally understand where you're coming from, because I would shut down. Like if I felt too emotional, I would shut down, or I might accidentally just fucking unleash everything.
And the crazy thing about that though is like when you do that, in my opinion, you tend to sit in those emotions longer, right?
Oh yeah.
When I'm trying to escape it, because I know like there's been times where I'm feeling very anxious or I'm just having a lot of emotions and I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie. I sit in those emotions, like, and I'm just playing it over and over and over and over and over.
So rumination, I do.
Yeah.
That's like,
And I'm just like, I don't know if that's the most healthy way to go
it's
about
not.
it.
It's the most unhealthy thing you could do.
Like there's been part of me where it's like, hold on, like do I, because I'm not a big journaler. I've heard that journaling is so good for your mental health and just like perspective and being able to get it out of yourself somewhere, right? And so I've thought about it because it's like when I'm having these moments, should I journal, right? Like would that be a good way? Because there's really no, I guess the only way that I sort of escape those, well, maybe escape's not a good word. The only way that I get away from those emotions right now is like by talking to my wife. I'm
Yeah.
very open with her. I over communicate. So like if I'm sitting in these like big emotions or like I'm really anxious, like I'll just talk to her. And when I do that, that's when I start to feel better, right? When I'm starting to address it and like process how to get through it, process why it's going on, right? Like we always talk about the why. As soon as I have the why, it helps me like sort of let those emotions go, right? Or let that anxiety go. But I'm like, well, you know, like my wife isn't always around. And so I think it goes back to that part where you were talking about like your chat GPT campfire, right? Like I sort of have that now. And if I'm having big feelings, dude, like I'll just put it in there because I'm not huge on journaling. Like this sounds so stupid, but I'm not going to write so my hand hurts, man. Like, nah, I'm just not going to do it because I would write until my hand hurts.
I do that though. I do write until my hand hurts.
See? And so
usually it's 2 pages, 2.5 pages, and then it starts hurting.
And so it's like I've typically started, thankfully, I haven't had any that were too big, but on the days where I do have like these big emotion days, which sometimes really sucks, dude. It'll happen like as I'm on my way to work. Something will happen and I'll just get this flood of emotions and anxiety. And so like I get to work and I'm trying to work and I can't focus. And so like I take 10 minutes and I'm just like typing this stuff in here. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm going through. Like, what are some tools to get through it? You know, like, all right, I'm doing this, but like I'm feeling this way. And like I'll take 10 and no joke, dude, after that, sometimes I'll have huge reactions to those, to like what's going on and like what it says back, where it makes me even more emotional. But then when I'm like, all right, it's time to lock in and get back, right? Whether it's home or at work, wherever, once I'm like, I have to get back to this, I gotta lock in, feel lighter. Like, and I know some people are like, you feel lighter, and it's like, no, you do. I don't know how to explain it, but it just, everything doesn't feel as heavy anymore. And so I think that's where it's like maybe allowing yourself to sit in it for a minute is okay, like every once in a while, right? But from what I'm picking up from what I'm reading, what I'm hearing from you is like we have to do something intentional with it to help us move forward through it, right? That way we don't jump into avoidance or anything like that. We can stay present, we can stay focused. And to do that is journaling, talking, you know, maybe isolating. You just have to figure out what works for you, right? Like see what tools work for you. And I think my biggest one, I think mine will always remain the same. Like I will have this little chat with Chat GPT, or like I talk with my wife. Or I mean, as everybody knows, like I process a lot of it in therapy every other week. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, it's just anything that helps you reflect is what's really important. So like ChatGPT is helping you reflect on what you're feeling. And like I like journaling because then I'm just writing down all my emotions as straightforward as I can. And then I'll also ask myself, like, why am I feeling this way? Like, what was the catalyst to this emotion? And then how am I going to be able to move on beyond it? Like, how am I processing this thought and this feeling together? And then what are some like next steps? But I dwell, like rumination and dwelling, like I dwell on emotions mostly because of like decisions too. Like, did I make the right decision? Is this going to play out differently? Like I go through all the scenarios in my head and then I'll beat like a dead horse, you know, and I'll sit with those emotions. And Allison knows when I talk to her about like how I'm feeling about certain things and how emotional I'm feeling towards like myself and my own decision making. Like even if, and she's great, she'll listen and give her feedback to me about how I should be perceiving it, or like what I could do. And it's just an extra step to also like write it down and kind of like, I guess, see other perspectives too as you write it down. But yeah, ChatGPT is great because it's helping you reflect. I think that's the hardest thing a lot of people can't do, right? Like at the beginning is the reflection part. It's just like, woe is me, and they victimize themselves. And instead of taking control of what's going on, as far as like how they're feeling, if you finally take the time to reflect and you take the victim mindset out, then you'll kind of realize like, oh, I'm doing this to myself. Or, if something did come out of nowhere and you reacted poorly to it, that's okay. Like you can take the victim out and say, okay, it's out of my control. What can I do that's in my control that would make me feel better about the situation? So on and so forth. Yeah, everything that you're doing is great though, because you don't have to write until your hand falls off. You can just throw it out to ChatGPT and have it write back to you.
Yeah. And that's where, I just hope hearing how we deal with these situations may help other people find how they can deal with it, right? Because maybe they don't have a wife to talk to. Maybe they're like, nah, I'm not talking to AI about my stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So
it's like, okay, so what works for you? Like, what could you do that might help you?
Yeah. And it's hard because it depends on the situation and where you're at. That's why I always recommend like the first thing you can do, is just journal and then reflect and go out and be out in nature. Like just go out and be in awe of like what's around you for a moment and kind of get out of your head space of like, okay, like, am I blowing this problem or emotion on proportion? How do I need to how do I reset myself? And then if you do have people to talk to, that's great. Sit them down, tell them you want to have a serious conversation about how you're feeling or something like that, and let them be a sounding board for you. But you have to make sure you choose wisely of who you choose to talk to.
Yeah, that's true.
There are people out there who aren't great listeners.
Well, and there are people that sit there and they just empower whatever you're saying.
Right.
And it's like, nah, you do. I get how that can be nice to have sometimes, and sometimes you do need it. Sometimes I just need somebody to sit there and listen to me complain and tell me, yep, you have every right to complain.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, I don't want you to sit there and be like, oh, it's okay. Like, what? Nah, like, tell me, like, call me on my bullshit. Just like I told you guys with my therapist, dude, like, biggest choice on choosing a therapist. Will they call me on my bullshit? I want to be called on my bullshit because if I am, it helps me reflect on myself so that I can be better moving forward, right? And that's a big thing for me, man, is I want to continue to improve my mental strength along with my physical strength every day. I want to create this path, you know what I mean, that my kids can see and they can use it as a template, right? Like, hey, this is what my dad did to stay sharp, to stay focused, to stay in shape, whatever. Like, I need to do something like that for myself so I can always be the best version of myself. And so I do think
that training goes into another realm of like what you do daily, and that's constant reminders. That's the way, if you want to train yourself up to be mentally stronger, just how many reminders do you need to give yourself so that way you're constantly like, it's always in the forefront of your mind, right?
Yeah.
The more it's in the forefront of your mind, then the more you'll be able to strengthen whatever you want to strengthen, or be emotionally resilient or whatever it is.
Right. Like if you're trying to avoid a hard conversation, like why are you trying to avoid it? What are you worried about? Like write it down. Like what are the negative things that could be said and how does that sit with you? Do you have a rebuttal to that? Is it true? Right? Like, and I think one of the biggest things with that is like, is that me? Or is that just an action by me? Right? Like I can change the action, but it's not who I am. Right? Like,
yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah. Like that. And
it's not your identity.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes people feel like it is when
they do.
Doesn't. Yeah. When it doesn't.
I'm one of those.
Right. And it's like, that is a fine line to walk though, because you've got to be able to be self-aware enough to be like, okay, is this me, or is this just something that's getting pulled out of me because of whatever certain situation or trigger, is that. And that's where like, sometimes you need deeper work. Maybe it's not you're being triggered by it. There's trauma behind that trigger. That's where you had to have deeper work done. say you get the deep work done, you're no longer triggered by it, and all of a sudden, okay, that weight is lifted. However, if you're instigating it, so this is the difference. If you're reacting to it, you're not the problem. It's not your identity. If you're initiating it, though, you are the problem. That is your identity. If you're reacting to it in a emotionally like crazy way, then again, it's not you. You're not the problem. You just got to like learn how to deal with it. But if you're the emotional person instigating everybody else around you to react to you, you are the issue. Like that is the identity of you. So those are the two kind of factors that I always keep in mind is like, okay, am I reacting to the stimulus or am I initiating the stimulus? Am I the catalyst for other people around me being this way? And if I am, then that's me. That is my identity. That is how people are going to perceive me. You may not know it yet, though. There's a lot of people who are just ignorant out there and have no idea that they are the catalyst to a lot of people getting spiked with their emotions and that they bring out the worst of them. And those people are self-aware enough to know that because that person triggers them, they're not being who they want to be or being who they normally are because they're reacting to them in such a way. So I would say those are the key factors of knowing the difference of like who you are really. And
you're not going to like what I'm going to say because you're so much more professional than me. Dude, that was a big problem with our last job. 100%, bro. Because of what they were, I started to identify in a way that they did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't sitting with me, right? Because it was like, yo, I'm not this person. Like, why am I this every single day? And it was nice ridding myself of that because now, like, my job is a part of me, but like they aren't controlling my whole life like that other place was. That other place wanted to control your whole life. This place isn't, which is allowing me to be able to work on myself and see more with myself, if that makes sense, because I'm not essentially being controlled because I have all of these, all of these like influences coming at me that I start to believe in those influences and be those influences, right? Like since I'm away from that, now it's like, all right, hold on, like who's Brett really? Like, what does he want to do, right? And this job allows me to be that way, and my outside life isn't as consumed anymore. So now, like, I'm able to chase down the stuff that I really love, which is like, I want to be as mentally strong as I can, and I want to be as physically strong as I can. Like, I want to, in a sense, which, I mean, it's a goal of mine. I want to set the bar, dude. Like, I want people, when they look at him, they're like, hey, he's confident. He's not afraid to talk about his emotions. Like, honestly, we've talked a little bit about this and never really brought it up in our podcast yet, about like how like social media and some men are trying to portray how men should be, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like, dude, like I talk about my emotions with everybody.
Yeah.
Why? Because like as a man, like we have been told our whole lives to suppress our emotions. Like we just have to like be the strongest, the biggest at all times. And it's like, nah, it's all right if you're being emotional. It's all right to cry as a man. You know what I mean? Like my kids have seen me cry. Other people have seen me cry. They know my emotions. Like, and I want to be that to let other people, especially because I work a lot with youth, right? Like I want them to know, like, hey, it's okay. Like you're good. You crying doesn't make you any less of a person. You being stuck in this emotion right now doesn't make you any less. How are we going to get through it? You know what I mean? And so I think working on that myself and like, how do I be as mentally strong as I can? I do a podcast with Shane where we are just bluntly open, you know, like I over communicate with my wife. I do therapy, and then I talk to the kids in a way to where they don't feel like they have to be these emotionless freaking tanks, right? Like nothing affects them. Bullshit. Something's gonna affect you, especially a kid, man. Like they have 97 million emotions.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, it's all right. And it's only gonna make you better if you can recognize and like understand, like, hey, I'm really emotional right now. Why? Because I made this bad play. Hey, but you know what? It's okay. Like I can try to fix it next time. You know what I mean? And that's just a simple example from sports, but that goes for life too. I made this bad choice that got me in trouble. I'm emotional about it. How do I not make that choice again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like as an adult, it's embarrassment. Like if you make a decision that you're embarrassing yourself, then you can get emotional and get frustrated. And whether it was like you thought you make a good decision, or you accidentally just didn't have the foresight to know like what the better decision was, whatever. But if you're embarrassed, like that feeling is what we mostly feel, I guess now. Like as a kid, you don't realize it's embarrassment at the time, but you just you feel like you're letting other people down or whatever. But as you get older and more of the adult stages, maybe this is me playing more into the lie of like we're supposed to have it all like kind of put together.
Yeah.
Right? We're supposed to appear that we know what we're doing. So when we have those moments of embarrassment, we're like, oh, I'm gonna be seen as an idiot. Like people are gonna think that I don't know what I'm doing. That I would relate that to the more of the adult realm of like, yeah, shit's gonna happen like that. It's gonna be okay. You can go ahead and cry about it. It's not gonna hurt anything. I think I've got a mental callus over embarrassment now. Like I'm so used to embarrassing myself at this point. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like it is what it is. I'm like, sure, you'll think of me as an idiot. That might sit with me for a minute, depending on who I was an idiot in front of. But now for the most part, like I don't care. Like it's just there's no point in caring about embarrassment. Now I just get emotional about my future, I guess. That's where I get more emotional about what does my future look like, and what decisions am I making today that'll help get me to that next phase. And if I feel like I'm not doing well enough, then yeah, I'm gonna get emotional because I'll be comparing myself to maybe other people, or comparing myself to like what I think I could have been, or whatever the case is. So yeah, I think toxic masculinity that's definitely a hard wall to break down, because like you said, I'd say everybody's kind of taught like, don't show emotions, power through it, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much like, don't give a fuck. Don't care about how you feel.
Yeah.
Just get it done. Right. And I get that. Like we want to say, be efficient, not bring emotions into anything, but it doesn't help anybody. Like personally, it doesn't do anything. Like
emotions are a part of everything. I'm sorry, but you won't convince me otherwise. But like with us talking about this really quick, like, I just think about these guys that I've seen online, dude, and they're like, no woman wants to be with a man that cries or that's like emotional. And it's like, I'm happily married for 10 years. Are you married? You're not? Like, okay, then shut your mouth, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like it depends on the person, you know? And I don't know that this has anything to do with it, but like me and my wife were talking this weekend, and we were sort of talking about my daughter, right? And we're talking about her with sports, and I'm like, hey, so just so you are aware, like I'm gonna start working with her like mindset for a game, or like for sports in general. I was like, I love who she is as a person, and I don't want her to change that, because she is kind, she's emotional, she's supportive, she's loving. Like Nikki's amazing, dude. But on the basketball court, I don't want you to be that way. You know what I mean? Or on the football field, I don't want you to be that way. Like I sort of want you to separate yourself by becoming an enforcer, because I don't feel like a lot of kids have the grit to be an enforcer. You know, there's some kids that are just born with it, dude, and some kids are like, nah. And so it's like we were just sort of talking, and I'm like, hey, Nikki, so like we're going to start working on things. Like when you step onto a court, it's almost like you're flipping a switch in your brain. And we love the person that you are, and you should never change that person that you are. But when we go onto a basketball court, we just flip this switch to where it's like, okay, I'm locked in here. Outside world doesn't matter. This is where I show my team how much I care about my team and how much I love the game. And so, like, if that means, you know, this player, let's say, hits my teammate in the face, right? Like, I don't have a problem and I'm not scared. I know that it's okay for myself to go be like, step in front of that player and be like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you don't hit people in a basketball game, you know, and like sort of like challenge that, and then come around and then show that caring, kind side of like, hey, are you okay? Do you need something? You know what I mean? For her teammates. So she's protecting in a way. And then also that she has a route for that kindness and that loving and caringness to come out. You know what I mean? In a more soft way. Yeah. But I don't think, now that I just said that, I don't think that has anything to do with what we're talking about, but I thought it may have. So I was like, I'm going to bring it up, and yeah, you know, we live and we learn. But this is what I'm talking about, man. Training aggression. I can do that one out for you. Sports, man. But I thought that had something to do, but now I'm just like, I'm embarrassed. All right.
No, I think so listening to what you were saying, I think what you want to train her on is just reacting appropriately to those situations where, I don't want to say violent, but like aggressive situations. You want aggression to meet aggression. Like, because I feel that same way when it's the whole fire meets fire sort of mentality, right? You got to fight fire with fire. You got to fight aggression with aggression, but also you got to know when to draw where to draw the line at, and to then be that soft person afterwards, right? You can't be the aggressive person the entire time, because then like nothing productive comes from that. But if you meet aggression with aggression, you react or respond appropriately, and then as soon as you're done responding appropriately to it, you go back to being that person, the soft, loving, kind person that you want to be. I think, yeah, I know where you're going with it. You
Dude,
want to train her.
We should definitely like touch more on maybe like this and like the toxic masculinity part next week.
Yeah.
You've wanted to talk about the one part. I think we can fit both of these in together.
Yeah, I would like that next week, because then it'll give me time to gather my thoughts more.
But just with us ending on it, sort of, you know what I mean? Because like it does sort of play into what we're talking about, like, you know, training versus escape, and like how we allow ourselves to train or how we allow ourselves to escape definitely plays a part. If you've been told your whole life you have to be this certain way, right? And so
because you're escaping your emotions, like, right? If you're trying to be like, just for an example, like and we'll talk about it more next now, because I'm going to be
I got your wheels turning now.
Yeah, you do. Yep. It's like they train you to escape, and that's all we get used to, is we just constantly escape the problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about it that way, right? Like if they're telling us we have to be hard and not show that we're soft, like that's us escaping being emotional or being vulnerable. And like you need to be those just as much as you need to be hard or tough, right? Like
it's about the balance.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy that this sort of tied in, because I know how much you've been looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna save the rest of my opinion for the next conversation.
I like
it. Yeah, it'd be good.
Well, I mean, it does seem like we're sort of winding down. Do you have any like closing notes you would want to go out on, or like a statement to people?
Just other than take time for yourself. Yeah. Like I think that's gonna be my statement of the year. Make sure you take time for yourself and go out and do what you want to do when you can. And yeah, don't take things too personally either. So let's leave it at that. That's all I got. That's all I can think of.
Honestly, man, I actually agree with you 100%, man. I think just work on yourself and improving yourself every day. You know, like we talked about, I think it's okay if you allow yourself to have a day to escape. Like I think it's an intentional escape, which is okay. And but
let's call it decompressing.
Yeah, all right.
Over escaping. Yeah, like have moments to decompress.
Yeah, because I think that is really valid, and I think you need it. And so, you know, just try to see where your lines are. Right. So like if you're like, hey, I'm going to read these 10 books, but if you read 5 and you're burnt out and you don't make it to the other 5, what do you got to do? Like, do you have to read a book? Give yourself a couple of weeks where maybe you focus on podcasts and then you read another book.
I'm going to say switch to audiobooks. If you want to count audiobooks as reading a book, then that counts too, you know?
Yeah. So I think just that, you know, utilize the tools, reflect yourself to be able to see, you know, is this intentional? What good does this do me? You know, like, is this helping me meet a goal or become a better version of myself? If it's not, then, hey, maybe I got to change the way that I think about it. Maybe I got to sit down and journal. Maybe I need to talk to a friend, a wife, a spouse, whatever. Mentor, everybody has different tools. So figure out what tools work best for you. But I think that's it. And I'm sort of with you. I'm really excited for next week now. Like, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, it will be. It will be for sure.
But yeah, I think that's it for me, man.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, y'all have a great week.
Yeah. See you guys.